Well, I want to get on to some issues with this Obama administration in his last year here. I'm going to tell you what the real policy is going on. It's not just with the administration, but the administration is actually doing the bidding of some of the globalist planners. It's basically the murder of the United States of America and our way of life. Now, first, before I even get into some of the issues with Obama, but it's not even just him specifically, because I'll guarantee you the Bushes would follow the same principles and Hillary Clinton would follow the same principles. They're all basically doing the same thing. A little bit different flavor, but pretty much moving the same way. Maybe it'll move one agenda a little faster than the other, but that's about the way it goes. This is actually a picture of the Apostle St. Andrew. He was, and it's related to this because I just want to drill this home first. He was, according to legend, crucified on a cross shaped like an X. He says he was not worthy to be crucified in the same manner as Jesus. And also the same with Peter. He was crucified not on a cross of an X, but also a cross that was upside down. Now, St. Andrew was also, one of the main apostles. I think he was the brother of Peter. Because I don't really know how historically they know all these different things for sure, but there's controversy when I say these different things. But the legend goes that Saint Andrew was crucified on the cross of an X. So the cross of an X is the cross of Saint Andrew, and I'm intimately familiar with this because of I went to the Catholic Christian schools and I know about this stuff. Now, also, if you look at the flag of Scotland, you'll see the X on it. St. Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland. And it was Regulus, the Saint Regulus, supposedly had this dream. I don't know how to get these dreams, but he had this dream that God told him to take some of the relics of St. Andrew, put him in a ship, and sail to the ends of the earth till he becomes shipwrecked. And he got shipwrecked on Scotland, and some of the relics are supposedly still in Scotland that are of St. Andrew, and that's their patron saint. That's why you'll see that X on the Scottish flag. So, I want to get onto this because, first, this flag issue again, because before I even get into anything else. You see this, the state flag of Florida? I've saw in several times where they mention that this state flag of Florida has civil war or war between the states or war of the northern aggression, whatever you want to call it, symbology in it. No, it does not. No, it does not. Not even in the least. This is the cross of St. Andrew, and they did not get it even from the cross of St. Andrew that was used on a Confederate flag. It predated it by centuries. It actually predated it by well over a century prior to the Revolutionary War in 1776. This actual Red Cross, actually the seal of Florida, has nothing to do with the Civil War. But you're seeing these people writing these things in articles about has vestiges of the Civil War. See, this is the banner of this one here on the left. This is the banner of the Spanish Empire from 1506, used in Florida when Florida was run by the Spaniards from 1513. It's the same red X. It's the cross of St. Andrew. That's what it is. It's just vestiges actually from Spanish rule. And it's nothing to do with racism. But you could definitely argue that the cross of St. Andrew used in the rebel flag had nothing to do with racism either. It had a red, white, and blue with 13 stars representing the 13 original colonies, and it had the cross of St. Andrew. So, whatever. Let me just put that issue to rest, because I'm going to tell you this. I'm aggravated at when they attacked this Florida flag as being linking to the Civil War. I got so pissed off at that because it says, these same writers that are so much one way, if the Inquisition was in charge, they'd be making articles about, there's a witch hunt on for something else. They don't give a damn. It's like, whoever pays them to write something a certain way, they don't look for the truth. They just freaking make it up as they're going along, because this Florida state flag has nothing to do with the Civil War at all. Nothing. Nothing. It goes all the way back to Spanish rule in the 1500s, and the X doesn't have anything to do with racism anyway. It has to do with the cross of St. Andrew. Jeez, for crying out loud. I don't know what the hell can I say about this anymore. But there's been a war on Southern heritage. You can notice this, but I'm going to tell you this: there's a war on everything that the United States considers traditional. That's what's going on. The United States is actually being murdered. Don't freaking think of it as liberalism or anything like that, because I can tell you what, I am actually super liberal. But the government should not get involved in putting pressure on, eBay, Sears, and Amazon and Google stores and Chinese merchants not to sell rebel flags or Confederate flags. Because if they got that kind of pull, as far as I'm concerned, they could put pressure on telling people not to sell a certain kind of food or whatever. I mean, I don't know what they could do. They could do anything. If they could do that, they could do anything. And I call that totalitarianism. In other words, the government should stick their nose out of everybody's business, period. The only thing they should stick their nose in is if somebody's individual rights are being violated. But as far as I'm concerned, people do what the hell they want. I don't give a damn about anything. Now they passed the latest thing with gay. They proved that the challenge to the gay marriages was shot down and everything like that. And I can tell you one thing. I'm not religious, really. Even though I told you all that stuff about St. Andrew, but I do know, what the facts are pretty much. And I'm not going to freaking pull out the Bible and say the Bible said this and the Bible said that. I don't care, man. You can make up your own Bible. As far as I'm concerned, you can walk down the street naked, and I'm not going to report you for anything. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn what people do. I know, they arrest people for being naked on a beach and stuff, even when they're sunbathing. I'm not gonna freaking pull out the rule book for that. I'm not one of those conservatives or fake conservatives like Sarah Palin or something like that. I'm not. I don't care. But I don't like it when the government says it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way, or they're freaking making endorsements on this and they're attacking this and they're screw that. You got no business to doing this. But the real thing, the real impetus of what's going on here is they're actually attacking everything that actually has been traditionally the United States. So the United States loses its identity as a people and a nation. That's what's really going on. And that is a globalist thing. Because to destroy a nation by having its national identity and everybody being able to identify, and its culture being identified with certain things, that's the way to do it, because it just creates mass confusion. And once you have that mass confusion, what happens is you restore order by setting your own rules. And I can tell you one thing: they're setting your own rules, but we can still outsmart them. I mean, there's a lot of these egotistical eggheads that are writing these articles in magazines and newspapers and making speeches and things. We could still outsmart them, which is plain common sense, and that's really what you really need to do. But the other issue though is they've had with don't think it's impossible, but the other issues they had with this rebel flag and everything. I know, love it or hate it, whatever the hell it is, it doesn't really mean nothing. It's really a southern thing. That's all it is. I'm really from the north, but actually, if I go back far enough, on one part of my family, it would go to the south. But then I got another part of the family that goes to Italy. And if you freaking look at any country's history, you could say something about that country. And if you have that flag or whatever, then you're this and you're that. Because what? The administration doesn't like it? I mean, if somebody's competing with somebody doesn't like, I had a French flag and somebody didn't like a French flag, and I know that was the case one time. I had a couple of those French flags. Oh man, I was getting all kinds of crap because the French were this, the French were that, and I was like, They are. So what? I mean, where do you think the Statue of Liberty came from? France, right? French helped us out during the Revolutionary War. Oh, they're this, they're that. You know, and usually I get shit from everybody, man, whether it's liberals or conservatives, because I'm not that religious, but then again, I'm not like anti-religious either. The government's got to stick their nose out of everything. That's what I got to say. And where they're sticking their nose in is actually this issue with the gay rights and stuff. Well, it's individual rights. I actually, if you want to apply a little common sense to the way the Supreme Court decision went with the gay rights, if you went by legal precedent, there would have been no gay rights or no legalized gay marriage if you went by precedent. Those guys all just made a political decision. That's all they did. Now, that's not, to me, I personally think they shouldn't even have like civil unions. They should just throw them out the freaking window. I think it's all BS. I mean, if they wanted to have a union with man and woman, fine. But as far as I'm concerned, all that does is create a bunch of garbage for the divorce courts, the divorce attorneys, and they could throw those guys out the window, and all those women that have practiced that legal mumbo jumbo, they could throw them out the window too. I'm not much into all these rules, but you know what I don't like about this garbage, what Obama's doing? He's setting more rules. He just got a different set of rules. But the thing is, it's like, I realize there's a method to the madness. The method to the madness is they're actually just attacking anything that traditionally has been the United States. And I'm not a traditionalist, really. If somebody's a traditionalist, I'm just saying that what he's really doing is, if the USA was identified as all gay and lesbian and bisexual and transgender and everything else originally, and that was the national identity, say it was, right? The Obama administration would try to force it to be heterosexual, because they're just going against the grain on anything that Americans do in general, the way they are in general. So he's putting out his own rules. He's putting out his own codes, and I'm saying, screw them. Revolt. To hell with it, Actually, this is the White House with, it was kind of weird because I was making a video about Rife Technology and how he how he came up with some of the frequencies on killing microbes and viruses and stuff like that, and he got a good hint at what the mortal oscillatory rate of these viruses were by what color spectrum they showed up under his specialized microscope that split up a particle of light, so you could see things smaller than a particle of light. Well, this is basically the color spectrum, like when you're looking at the longest wavelength and the lowest frequency is red, and it gets shorter wavelength, higher frequency is orange. And it, just like in the sun, like when the sun set, you only see the longer wavelengths. And then you got yellow, then you got green, and you have indigo, and then you have violet, which has the highest frequency and the highest the shortest wavelength, the highest frequency and the shortest wavelength. Actually, this is a picture of the White House with Venus up above it. So the goddess of love. So him and Michelle, and Michelle might be transsexual, like what's Joan Rivers was stating, and to me, I don't really give a damn. But what I realize though, this guy is actually pushing more rules. And if the Supreme Court, even if they make a political decision, why are they doing this with the White House, right? Now, I'm going to tell you something about hypocrisy and how this guy does not support blacks and gays, big time. And you know how I'll tell you about it? 3 letters, HIV. And I'll tell you a little bit about the history of that disease, and also I just gave you a hint about some technology that's probably out there that can maybe cure it with vibrational frequencies, because they can go over the entire body at the same time. I'm going to say something about this because this goes to show you, you think the Obama administration is amongst anything is pro-black, anti-racial, and pro-gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender rights. Now, I can tell you one thing. One of the biggest things, that problems going on in the gay community, and also in Africa, and also in even India, is the rampant AIDS and HIV epidemic, which has been more or less squashed by, medical drugs. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that right now, because this guy, while he's talking one way out, about how, I'm going to protect this group and that group, he's actually endorsing the policies of the elite to destroy them. Like, for instance, HIV, and this is very much a gay issue too, and it could be a black African issue, because it's one of the things that's causing genocide in black Africa. HIV did not come from the green monkey. It came from vaccinations that were given to black people in South Africa. It did not start via the green monkey. It did not start in the countryside where the hunters ate the green monkey. It actually started with the people that took the vaccination, had the vaccinations in South Africa. Now, the drugs that are being given to the Africans, and also in India, have been accused of being, there's been a lot of stories out there. They're coming from the Clinton Health Initiative, for one. That's one big place. There's been a lot of stories that the Clinton Health Initiative, the money's been skimmed off into the pockets of the Clintons or something. There's been accusations on that. But on top of that, the HIV medications that are being sent to Africa have also been substandard and causing higher death rates rather than helping people to live longer. But you know what? He ain't looking at that, because that's all involved with the Clinton Health Initiative. That's another thing. If you also look back, way back when AIDS started in this country, or HIV took root in this country, it started with an experimental hepatitis B vaccination that was given to gays as an experiment in New York City, and that's when HIV started in New York City and became rampant and started killing gays. Now, where'd this come from in a vaccination? The government itself. So on one side, you're seeing a picture like they're helping gays, they're helping black people, and all this kind of stuff. On the other side, they're killing them. I want you to think about this shit, because this guy is a load of it, all right? This Obama guy, he's a load of it. He's working for the bad guys, and no matter how much you think he's on your side, he isn't. But, what's interesting is they might have cures for all kinds of diseases with this rife technology if it's actually rediscovered and reperfected as it was originally. And, the colors of this, they call it the gay rainbow. You could also think, well, it's the colors of the light spectrum. The colors of this is actually related to the frequencies of microbes, that they apply certain frequencies to microbes to shatter them and destroy them. And there are alleged frequencies that can actually destroy HIV. But you won't see this technology being used by the government because it's too cheap. And I'll say alleged, okay? I got to get more proof on all this garbage before I really get it out here on the YouTube videos. But I just want to make sure that you understand that this guy's policy, this guy actually, Obama, is working for the elite. He's not a patsy. He's a conscious and willing player. He's got his deal out of it. He gets to stay in the White House, and he gets all the perks and all the acclaims and all this kind of garbage. And at the same time, they're taking total control. And, even when I'm talking about this stuff with healing with frequencies, that can actually reduce the cost of all kinds of medical expenses, and we wouldn't need to have government-controlled medical care. Well, let me put it to you this way. Government-controlled medical care is about complete and total control of the population in every aspect of their lives, because they can delve into anything, including your personal life, and have it on record. And that was another thing that went forth. It's not about protecting the people. So the people that Obama says he's protecting, he's protecting the black people against racists. He's protecting the bisexual, gay, lesbian, transgender community, whatever that is. There's like an acronym for it, LBTG, whatever. I forgot, how that works again. But the thing is, he's not. He's stabbing them in the back at the same time. So, I want to put this out here because I want you to realize the United States is actually being murdered piecemeal on purpose, and it's not a joke, man. It's not a joke. And again, you know, if you're offended, I know a lot of people get offended by the rebel flag now, and I'm not going to show you real rebel flag because I don't want to offend anybody. This is like the least offensive way I could freaking show up rebel flag, right? But because I know it's almost like a brainwash thing where you see a rebel flag, like, oh God, what's that mean, and all this. Some people are really conditioned. But again, I want people to remember that, the rebel flag with the X is really the cross of St. Andrew. That's exactly how he was crucified. It's on the flag of Scotland. You'll see it on some of the flags of Australia. You'll see it through some nations. But it's on a flag of Scotland because that's the patron saint of Scotland. And he was one of the main apostles. He was supposedly the brother of Peter, the founder of the Catholic Church, of the Christianity, the first one. And that's really all that means. So, let me put it to you this way. If they could say the cross of St. Andrew is racist, because, it's got the red, white, and blue with the stars, a theme off of the U.S. flag. If they could say the cross of St. Andrew is racist, they could say Christianity is racist. Because then that's the next step. Get it? This guy is actually, and all their policymakers up above, are actually trying to murder the United States, destroy its cultural identity, destroy it as a nation, and then meld it into a global government. That's part of the plan. They're doing it on all fronts. They're controlling us through all ways. But us little people, and this is us, the little people, like the 7-year-old kid here, we could play the game against them. The thing is, use a lot of common sense, and you can see what's going on if you just break it down and keep it simple. Break it down Barney style, right? As they say, break it down Barney style. We can keep it simple, and beware of false conservatives too, because I know there's loads of them out there, like Sarah Palin, Jeb Bush. And conservative don't mean anything, because I think there are other people with other agendas. I don't care about agendas. I mean, if you got an opinion, you want to. I got a very Southern California attitude. I mean, the way it used to be before the government. The way it was in the 60s, man. I got a very Southern California attitude. Back when it was like in the 60s, not the way it is today. But, do whatever you want, man. That's the way I look at it. I really don't care. But us old timers are going to have to carry the ball because for now, till the millennials catch on that they're going to get screwed over by these freaking people, man. And so anyway, I'm going to continue to put out some really wild stuff on this channel that other people don't delve into. And let me just say this, that again, Obama, he's talking one way out of the side of his mouth, but his actions are doing something else. Just to let me sum it up, because he's acting like he's protecting against racists, but at the same time, he doesn't do a damn thing about the Clinton Health Initiative and the substandard AIDS, HIV drugs going to Africa at all. And, at the same time, which is a killer disease of the gays, right? So, and I know where all that came from, the government, the U.S. government itself. It was a depopulation plan. It probably didn't work as well as they wanted it to, but then they got Ebola, they got H1N1, and Ebola is actually very much related to the HIV virus, very much so. It looks very much like it. So, these things haven't worked out as well as they wanted them to, but someday they might. Someday they might. So we got to keep our wits about us and keep playing the chess game against these guys. And just remember that Obama he's working for the bad guys. He's not on, if you actually identify what exactly he's saying and his agendas. See, I don't really give a damn about, any of this stuff he's talking about too much either way. It's just the fact that he's actually making the rules about it. I'm like, screw the rules, yo-yo. You're just another. I mean, it's just as bad as him making rules about, various things about the gay community and stuff. It's just as bad as, to me, as these strict moralists. I mean, to me, you don't need the stupid rules. That's the way I look at it. I mean, to me, this was like a total political statement what he did here, right? So, but that's what I'm thinking they're doing. I think they're actually just trying to freaking attack anything that's traditionally the culture of the United States. But he's not on the side of gays and he's not on the side of blacks. There's no way. And I can tell you one thing: probably more blacks than whites are not on his side of the gay, on the pro side of the gay issue. So it's kind of weird how Obama's got himself positioned on all this stuff, and at the same time, Obama is like very pro on Sharia law, which is totally against a lot of other things he's talking about with the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender rights. It's like Obama's just basically on the side of anything that goes against what is more the majority traditional norm in America. And really what it is, it's a policy to murder the United States. So, anyway, I just want to sum this up. Hopefully I summed this up good enough and brought out some other opinions and information that other people didn't know about the cross of St. Andrew and stuff. And I hope I drove that home pretty good about the Florida state flag and the cross of St. Andrew, because, when I started seeing the articles about the flags that are still carry vestiges from the old Civil War, and they had the Florida state flag in there, I was like, man, these people are so stupid. I mean, they're not stupid. They just write anything. I mean, if the Inquisition was in charge today, the same liberal writers that would be writing for, pro-gay rights and get rid of the rebel flag or Obamacare or whatever the hell it is, they'd be writing for, the Inquisition. They'd be writing for why we should burn witches. They're not looking for the truth. They just go along with anything. They go along with anything that greases their palm because that's the way they want it, And that's exactly the problem, because big money is behind all these policies. Big money is actually behind melding the United States into a new world order. And believe me, the new world order is going to have a lot of rules, man. They're going to have a lot of rules. I don't like rules. Here in the United States, we actually have a hell of a lot less rules. That's good. And it's got to go back to the way Southern California was back in the 60s, man. You know what I mean? That's the way I want to see the United States. I want to see the United States that way all over. The way Southern California was back in the 60s. Laissez-faire all the way.